The refinery definitely has an interesting timeline of events when it comes to their location. The refinery moved from their original location in July 2018, um, with big hopes of actually moving back there um, in 2019. But their original location is actually pictured on the left, and their temporary location that they moved into is pictured on the right. And so they moved into that location on the right with hopes of moving back into their original location with updates like food added to their menu and updates to the decor um, and just to the structure of the building since the building is so old. But in May, the refinery launched a Kickstarter campaign to raise $20,000 so that they could make those updates to their building and their menu and just provide new things for the community and just within their business. And on May 24th, the refinery raised their $20,000 needed, and they worked throughout the summer to make those updates. And on September 27th, the refinery opened their doors to the new and improved original location and left their location on the right.
The refinery's primary customers can be looked at through both demographics and psychographics. When it comes to demographics, they are mostly targeting the age ranges of the baby boomers, millennials, and Gen Z cohort groups, as well as all genders and the geographic locations of Newburgh and Evansville. When it comes to psychographics, they're mostly targeting the VALS types of experiencers, believers, and strivers, as well as people looking for a community or somewhere to belong to, as well as people looking for an inspiring atmosphere.
The refinery's brand, focal point, you could say, is centered around the two stars that are on either side of their name and their logo. You can see this down in the left corner. We can also see this in the collaboration that they did with Bliss, which is a local company where they source all of their ice cream from. It is distinguished by the pink logo, but still features that star. We can see this feature on all of their advertising, campaigns, social media, etc. But beyond their visual brand, they are focused around the idea of community. You can see that it is featured in their window up in the corner. Not only are they focused around the community of Newburgh, but also Evansville and surrounding areas as well. One example of the benefits of focusing on community and being locally sourced was the example of a store called Asda that started sourcing locally grown free range eggs. And by doing this one action, they doubled their orders and were able to expand their business. If the refinery does branding themselves as being a part of the community, well, then they can see success in this niche market.
When we get to talk about the promotional strategic plan, we have to know what industry it's in. And here's where the refinery kind of has a identity crisis. They are listed as a coffee shop on Google and an ice cream shop on Facebook. We know they do both things, but we're going to go ahead and assume that they are an ice cream shop for this. And the ice cream industry is actually in the maturity phase, which means it's growing by sales and not volume, which also means that any change in the preferences means that they have to change their plan. For example, there's a health trend right now, and that might mean we need to have low calorie, or, we have to make sure that our stuff is freshly made.
The refinery's communication methods first are mainly over their Instagram and Facebook accounts. They use these social media pages to update the community on what's going on within the refinery, but also to show their new food items and seasonal drinks that they have for the fall and winter season. The refinery uses word of mouth also. Since the refinery is in such a small town, a lot of people talk about the downtown Newburgh businesses, and the refinery is one of them. The refinery also uses sponsorships sometimes as a communication method. Um, Sometimes you will see them providing their coffee and even food to different events, and also financially supporting different nonprofit events in the community. Another communication method that the refinery uses is traditional marketing through signage and logos. The refinery has a lot of signs inside and outside of their building, but also they sell different mugs and t-shirts and sweatshirts with their logo on it to get their name out there. They also do some co-branded events. Sometimes they partner up with different businesses in the downtown Newburgh area to put on different events in the community, like you'll see on the right, this Downtown Newburgh Nights event that they put on. The IMC communications methods currently being used by the refinery are definitely effective for their primary customers.
When it comes to evaluating the integrated marketing plan of the refinery, there are definitely both pros and cons. Some pros include consistent images and promotions across their social media platforms, and a consistent brand including mission, words, images, colors, etc., and a good balance of both informational and entertaining content. Some cons, however, are they don't have a website for more in-depth information, and there's definitely a lack of presence outside of social media, and also there's nowhere to view the menu without going into the physical location. Overall, the refinery has done a great job implementing consistency across all of the platforms that they currently use.
Product strategy is very important to any kind of business. Specifically referring to the refinery, their product is tea, coffee, and the list goes on. And as you can see, that specific type of product relays perfectly to mothers that want to get together maybe on their day off, or even college students that want to meet up with their friends and just kind of relax a little bit and get away from the schooling type of atmosphere. And then also it's a great way for young adults as well too, because who doesn't like ice cream, especially at their age? So their type of product serves multiple different types of their target audiences. So as you can see, the refinery is very continuous with their main social media platforms. And that is on the left, their Instagram page, and on the right, that is their Facebook page. And I had called them to check in to see how long they've had their social media platforms for their Newburgh location. And they said roughly around 2 years, maybe a little bit less than that. But for them to have the type of postings and then followers on both social media sites, I felt like was very impressive. And what I found that was interesting is that, they have more followers on Facebook than Instagram. And maybe that's because, you have a little bit more of the elder generation worked in with using Facebook a little bit more than Instagram. After interviewing the refinery, they had mentioned that there has not been any negative problems or issues going forward with their target market throughout any of their social media platforms. So as far as any other type of organization or business, there's a sales process that takes place. So of course, it starts out with a line queue, meaning first come, first serve basis. And within that line, of course, there is a transaction that takes place when the order is taken care of. And I really want to emphasize on how the refinery just overall does an excellent job within their sales process. Because if you look at the restaurant McAllister's, and even I think McDonald's is starting to do this, where it's not just the employee handing the food over the counter and then that customer leaving. They're actually like taking the food to wherever they are sitting at during the restaurant. And to me, when I eat at McAllister's, it just makes me feel like that customer truly cares to meet my needs. So I think the refinery does a phenomenal job in their sales process, just creating an overall better experience.